Hey guys, come along with me to Berlin, Ohio, to the Amish Country. We are going to the Food Independence Summit. We went to Lehman's. I found so many beautiful things that I wanted. But just come along with me. I will have to do a part 2, so hope you enjoy part 1. Have an awesome day.
We have David Stelzer. David is the CEO of Asher Standard. How many of you know Asher Standard? Look at that. They have 3,000 drop points across the United States. That's got to be a logistical nightmare. Maybe that's what keeps them up at night. I visited their plant. I hope to go see them again this fall. They're in Dufur, Oregon. David also has a small farm where he actually farms organic. Now, how many acres do you think a small farm is in Oregon?
200.
4,000. Oh, it's not fair, you know. He farms 4,000 acres. I said, David, what is a big farm in Dufur, Oregon? 18,000 acres.
Wow.
So please welcome to the stage my friend David Stelzer, CEO of Asher.
Well, thank you everybody for coming here. We talking about a little bit different subject than I usually talk about. I usually talk a lot about soil and soil health, but we're going to be talking about food today.
That's got to be a logistical nightmare. Maybe that's what keeps them up at night. I visited their plant. I hope to go see them again this fall. They're in Dufur, Oregon. David also has a small farm where he actually farms organic. Now, how many acres do you think a small farm is in Oregon?
200.
4,000. Oh, it's not fair, you know. He farms 4,000 acres. I said, David, what is a big farm in Dufur, Oregon? 18,000 acres.
Wow.
So please welcome to the stage my friend David Stelzer, CEO of Asher.
Thank you everybody for coming here. We talking about a little bit different subject than I usually talk about. I usually talk a lot about soil and soil health, but we're going to be talking about food today. So Azure is the marketing arm of our farm. So, you know, when I was young, we were one of those few farms that kind of did not lose the farming piece. Super important that part that we look at our food so we were doing subsistence farming, so to speak, the homestead thing times all the way through. When I was a young child, we did that. In fact, it served us in good stead. There was one point in our life if that would not have happened, we'd have been in really bad shape. But my dad always started saying, as we moved forward to the next stage of agriculture, that the farmer is the guardian of the nation's health. And there are, you know, all of you guys, maybe a lot of you have land and homesteads, but there's 300 million Americans that don't. And it's our job as farmers and those that do have land and the ability to do that, to create a system for healthy food for the rest of the nation. So, getting straight into into food here, health is, there's kind of 3 pillars of health. And there's all the little edge cases, but basically 3 things need to happen to be healthy. One is we need to eat healthy and life-giving food. And there's, it's a big one. And that's the one I'm involved in. Number 2, we need to have a positive spiritual and emotional outlook. And number 3, we need to move. We need to have purpose. We need to have a lifestyle with a certain amount of exercise, fresh air, and so on. So it's, it's the lifestyle, it's the food, and it's the way that we view life from a spiritual and emotional perspective. So now, starting with food. So, and I won't talk too much about the other things today because food is the subject here. But it's super important that we look at our food from shall we say, a logical perspective. So many times on our food, we look at food should be the easy thing. It should be super easy to take that pillar of health. There's not a whole bunch of emotional stuff that we have to deal with. There's nothing. We just change our diets. And that should be easy. But I've found, as I've been working with folks for the last 30 years, that it's not always easy. And why is it not easy?
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to John Miller with Superb Canning. Thank you for the free cases of jars and lids, along with 4 sleeves of lids. It was such a blessing. Thank you so much, Superb Canning.
The cucumbers are hanging full, but my garden grew so much in just the 4 days that I was gone. Look at those grapevines. And my tomatoes have outgrown the cages. They are starting to hang full of tomatoes. I pulled some carrots this morning. As you can see, the beans are hanging full. Come on, Harley girl. I'm out walking my daughter and son-in-law's dog, letting her use the restroom. Look how big my squash plants got and what time I was gone. I left Monday morning, came back, like I said, last night. And look how big they got. They were not that big when I left. So, and I pulled some onions. There's still quite a few left that's not ready. But we are just out walking. This is Harley Girl. She is an American bull. Everything that I bought while I was gone. But I want to give a big shout out to John Miller with Superb Canning. He offered free jars and lids to anyone on the first day that would get up on the stage and do a dance at the Food Independent Summit. So, I mean, I sat there for a few minutes and debated it and debated it and debated it. Well, my sister talked me right into doing it. So I ended up doing less than a 5-minute dance, and I got 15 cases. Come on, Harley. Come on. But anyway, I got 15 cases of regular mouth pint jars. The husband and I don't eat much more than a pint. Cows must be in the barn. At one time of most things, unless it's like soup or something. So I was excited to get those. And then I got 4 sleeves of 156 canning lids. I got 2 regular mouth and 2 wide mouth lids. The total that I personally walked away with for that little 5-minute dance was $105. I so appreciate Superb Canning and their generosity at the Food Summit. They put this on along with Layman's and Azure Standard and some other companies. But this was fantastic. This was so generous of him. So I just want to give a shout out to Superb Canning and John Miller and say thank you so much for your generosity. It was a grand gesture and I really appreciate it. I was going to buy your jars anyway.